you once again for joining us today. So today, in part of our series, the Executive Access, we are featuring a leader that is shaping the future of recruitment and talent placement. And we have no other person than Jordan Levy. He's the co-founder of CapSource, discussing the next gen talent development and placement through programming and platform. Thank you, Jordan, for joining us today. We
Thanks for
really
having
great.
me.
Yeah. All right. Today we're gonna look at Jordan's what he's done, what really prompted him. From what I saw in his website, it says his drive to start CapSource was stemmed from his own personal experience, which I think was also anybody's experience. Because at the end of the day, what I found out as his educational training does not really match the real world work experience or work skills that is needed, and that's what really prompted him to start CapSource. And today we're going to dive in, learn from his experience, because he's going to share with us what his challenges in starting CapSource. Yes, he started that, but he navigated some challenges to make it a great company that is it today. So he's going to share with us his challenges, what really moved the needle for him to be where he is today, and for the great company CapSource. So without further ado, um, again, before we start the program, let me even tell you, Jordan, how this program is gonna be. It's about 30 minutes interview. I mean, sorry, conversation, it's not an interview. Sorry, which are going to look at your background and the industry trend you're seeing. We discuss your current challenges and where you want CapSource to be in next 12 months. And in conclusion, we discuss if there's explore any next step, if there's any to explore. Does that sound good to you?
Yes, it does.
Okay, thank you very much. So, Jordan, just take it from here. Can you share in a little bit, tell us the overview of your um, uh, professional journey and your role and how it affects the bigger picture of CapSource?
Yeah, thanks for the opportunity.
Yeah.
So, just like anyone, I think I started thinking about this in high school, maybe
Mhm.
even middle school. There wasn't much support for actually getting a chance to validate where I wanted to go with my career, what I wanted to study.
Mhm.
At the time, pretty much everyone was encouraged to go to get a traditional 4-year bachelor's degree. So I knew I was probably going to go in that direction, knew I needed to study, knew I needed to apply. I knew also that I didn't want to do what my dad was doing, which was he was a doctor. And it's funny how sometimes you learn very quickly that you don't want to do what your parents do, but then ultimately that makes them very less impactful in helping to shape your journey because that's what they did. That's what they know, right?
Yeah.
So how are they going to help me take a different route? And I think, frankly, that's what educational institutions should be doing.
Yeah.
And that's really a lot of what the work that I ultimately help schools do is help students figure that out.
Mhm.
Whether it's high school students, college students, graduate students, they need more and more and more experiences in order to validate or disvalidate of which direction they want to head in. So my mom always said, "You're going to be a business guy." So we looked up business undergrad programs. I found Lehigh. I thought the campus was beautiful. I said, "I'll spend the next 4 years here. Why not?"
Okay.
Then I went to school and I was, sitting in the front of my classes, raising my hand. I was a great student,
Mhm.
studied, got my internship even, thankfully got a chance to really validate I didn't want to go and follow the commitment I made, which was accounting and finance, into accounting or finance. But then it was too late, right? And so now I'm sitting there with a degree in accounting and finance, and I don't want to work in accounting and finance, and I have no idea what I want to do. And I said, if that happened to me as a student who very active learner, very participant. I was friendly with all my teachers and educators and professors throughout my learning experience. I said, there's got to be other students that are struggling too. And I basically set out on a journey to help solve this problem for the next generation of students. And I've been working on it ever since I was a senior in college when I came up with the business idea of making case studies that were up to date, right? All the traditional case study, that was old school. We're
Yeah.
talking about, companies in the dawn of computer age, in the beginning of decision making, and of a different time. And I
Mhm.
said, why don't we ask companies to give us real challenges? That's going to help students more than talking about what Uber was doing 5 years ago, 10
Mhm.
years ago.
Mhm.
And I think that's really what motivated me to really move forward in the business was going and speaking to companies about the idea and getting into the room. And that was actually what I was using, to try and see, do I want to go into marketplaces? Do I want to go into social media? Do I want to go into supply chain management, operations, talent, training and development, talent acquisition, so many different things because all of these different companies had all these different roles in
Mhm.
different industries.
Yeah.
And I got a chance to ask all their leaders questions and make, curriculum for students.
Yes.
And over time, we, shifted the model and have been doing lots more than just case studies. We do projects, we do cases, we do mentoring, we do guest lectures. There's really a lot of ways that companies can work with students. And so
Mhm.
we serve as a platform, as an intermediary. We help to build curriculum that guides the industry and students as they work together and collaborate.
Mhm.
And that my journey is just, I always say, like, every day I meet new people, every day, I tweak my career perspective, and I think that's what others need to do too.
Some is very good. And again, to be honest with you, your experience is everybody's life experience, even me too. So let me not waste your time with that. So again, what does a typical day look like for you?
A typical day.
Mm-hmm.
I'm fortunate to live in Tucson, Arizona, where this
Okay.
time of year we're in December.
You are still enjoying your summer. I'm still here. I'm in a sweater, covered up. Okay, I'm in New Jersey. We had snow 2 days ago. It's still out there. Go ahead.
Yeah. So I feel very fortunate. During
Mhm.
COVID, my wife and I made a decision to leave New York City. We were in the Upper West Side. I'm from New
Okay.
York originally, and we said I really want um, to see if we can make a life elsewhere. And both my wife and I, my business is remote, my team is remote. I said I'd rather have people who want to work, for me wherever they are and not have to oversee them breathing down their neck
Mm-hmm.
and build a business the speed it's gonna build. And I've never regretted that decision a day in my life. So I work remotely. I'm in Tucson. Obviously, this time of year is beautiful during the summer. All you guys are hanging out outside, and we're inside. So it comes both ways.
Mm-hmm.
I have two beautiful kids,
Awesome.
2.5 years old and 6 months old.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and so we always start our day. I put my chef hat on, make
Awesome.
breakfast and lunch for them, and then I take out my computer and get started. And really, for me, the first things first is dealing with my the most critical clients, existing clients, prospective clients, and then prepping for the rest of my day accordingly. So sometimes I have upcoming meetings with my own internal team, and I have to prep for those. Sometimes I have to get materials out to my clients to help them as they're engaging with their students in industry. Sometimes it's helping industry finalize the project details or commitment details. So it's really kind of, really getting a map of what the most important priorities are. And then after that, I spend a lot of my day using AI to make what I used to do, which would take, you would be able to get two, three, five things done a day. Now we're at 30, 40, 50. And
Awesome.
really for me, it's, empowering and motivating my team to do the same, right? The more you can train them to operate faster, to think, more about how do I use this as my sidekick, my collaborator, I
Mhm.
think more successful and streamlined our business has become and will become.
Okay, okay, that's very great, and that's a very good answer. So again, the next question I have for you is, what major shift are you seeing in your industry right now?
So there's a few. I mean, the big there. I spoke to one of my advisors who mentioned there's like four or five once in a generation changes that happen in the education industry, and they all happen within 5 years. The first one really was the millennial generation, Gen Y.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, they really, they believed that the American dream was on the other side of a 4-year degree.
Hmm.
Gen Z is not as convinced, right? They saw their parents, the Gen Xers, they saw their elder cousins and peers in the millennials really graduate with a ton of debt and no real promise career-wise. So they're a little bit more skeptical. So they're not enrolling at the same rate that they used to. There's also less of them. So that is also a serious implication. There's less, the birth rate's declining.
Okay.
There's less students entering school,
Hmm.
and there's less percentage, and there's less there's less people
Hmm.
to actually enroll. So that's shifting. Then you have COVID, and COVID not only changed the way that students think, and honestly their preparedness for the world around them and how they react to the world around them. It also changed the way that learning delivery has was designed and organized with in accordance with and integrated with technology. So I think that was a big shift. And now the most amazing, and this is impacting every industry, not just education, because all of those are really, they certainly COVID impacted other industries, but most companies were more set up to do all of their work remotely than schools. I think schools were just not ready for it. They had some online infrastructure, but not really. AI is here. And I think that to me, it renders the entire structure of the traditional class useless. I think the structure of asking students to memorize, to synthesize textbook information, to regurgitate information, through essays and other forms of multiple choice assessments. That I mean, that is what are we training? I mean, that is to me, it does not actually showcase that they're learning anything. It just showcases that they know how to use AI to do that. And my perspective is, how do we get students to learn how to use AI to build value, to better understand, to be a personalized learning coach and support? I think that's what is the revolution. And it starts, my first of all, my daughter and I, she's 2.5, 3 years old. We, she likes dinosaurs. I said, at the end of the day, I read children's books about dinosaurs, but I was like, let's get some facts going. I didn't go to Google. I went to ChatGPT, right? And ChatGPT answered all these facts. Dinosaurs were here 150 million years ago. So we don't know what color they were. She's like, I said, what? I asked her, what color is a dinosaur? And she goes, purple. And then GPT was like, well, really, we don't know because at the end of the day, they weren't here, and their fossils don't tell us that. We have assumptions, and it's just like you can have such an interesting conversation with your kids, and like this is what my 3-year-old is doing. What is she going to be doing at 13 and 23 and 33? Right? I think that to me is like what demonstrates that this is a this. It's not like YouTube was as a personalized learning tool because you still had to search for it and hope someone out there created the content you're looking for. This creates the content as you need it, the way you need it, and then it's interactive from there. And I think that to me is a huge shift in the way that we learn and think and operate. And if the institutions around us don't evolve to think about how that changes how the brain functions and how the next generation is growing up to think differently about what they need to know, how they need to know it, how they need to process it, then it's doing a disservice, not a service anymore. I think that's what I want to motivate schools and education leaders to think about.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I agree with you. Somehow you've also answered my next question, but again, you can still throw more light on it. How has AI impacted your business and the strategy of CapSource?
Yeah, I think the easiest way to answer that is it's impacted every aspect. It's integrated into our product. It used to be that a company would tell us, hey, we have an interesting project for MBA students to do a new research on entering an international market or finding new raw materials to bring our costs down. And then really we had templates and you had to tweak the templates and it would spend so much time trying to figure out how to help the company frame their project as a project for students and not a project for well-trained employees. And so for us, it was always that was a lot. That was a huge amount of time it took for us to get projects to students. And now, one sentence and a website, we can have a whole plan in seconds. And I think that to us, same thing with mentoring. If a student wants to get mentored about gardening, wants to get mentored about moving to New York and choosing a neighborhood, wants to get mentored about getting a job in healthcare. These things are niche, but it's not niche in curriculum development if it's AI driven. So it knows the structure of the platform, it knows the structure of mentorship, and it knows the industry practices and the nuances of what that student needs to know and what their capacity is and familiarity is when they're starting that mentorship, and builds a curriculum. I mean, this is a new world. So that's how it's used for as part of our product. And then as part of our team, it's it's always on. It's always listening. It's always helping us remember what did we talk about? We shouldn't be asking that anymore. This is so old school. We don't need a scribe. We don't need a person at our board meetings taking notes anymore. Record it. Now we know exactly what we talked about. There's no debate. There's no debate anymore about what we talked about. I think that is the funniest like pastime that like is probably the most remarkable thing that most large organizations are not even there yet because they're so worried about what it implicates them if they have recording everything. I said, if you don't feel comfortable being recorded every second, then something within you is unethical. So you need to be ethical. My like with the old grandma philosophy, live every day like your yesterday is on the front page of the New York Times.
Awesome.
And that's how you should act on every business meeting, every interaction that you have in your community, every interaction that you have in your friend group and with your loved ones. Just this is the way we need to be. This is important. Live ethically, live forward, live and understand that like these tools are now designed to say, hey, I mean, I can't wait for this, right? It's still not there. Last week you spoke to this guy about this. I didn't see in your email that you sent that out. So I think you should do this because there's opportunity because I understand you well. And so like we have all these tools, they're not integrated yet. And I think that's still 10 years out. And I think that's what the next generation of jobs is going to be to figure out
Mm,
A, how can I piecemeal them together? B, how do I build workflows around that? And then C, how do I actually make sure that that's the best practice and iterate that design? And that's what I'm excited about. But AI has been around for a long time. It's any type of machine, even a street light is using intelligence to make decisions about changing. It's like it's a completely autonomous system, right? That's AI. So there's nothing different. It's just now it's so much more effective at understanding human language and communicating from that language something of value that could be, digested by humans. And I think that to me, there's no zeros and ones. There's zeros and ones all the way underneath, but right here where we operate, the zeros and ones are not the priority. They're not even what we need to think about. We need to think about how to use these machines so that they can serve our goals and our missions and
mm.
help us scale and amplify our work.
Awesome. Awesome. That's very well said. So again, my next question, which is, what is working well for you right now, and what is not?
What is working well? Working well is I just had it on the top of my head. Working well is I think for me, what's working well is the industry side of our platform is more and more excited to ask the next generation to help with this and to get involved in their organization. What's not working well is how quickly schools can pivot, how quickly schools and educators can evolve and understand the world around them. And it's like that gap. I worked my whole career so far to bring the gap closer together. And in my opinion, they're just drifting farther apart to the point where it's like if you can't make these decisions, you're just gonna leave yourself in the dust. And I think that for me is like that's what I hope. I spent all my effort appealing to schools. It's really easy, it's low cost. You got to get your local community, you got to get your regional community, you got to get your business community, your alumni community, the national community and identity all involved in your organization and how you educate your students. Simple, right? There's a tool for it, there's an approach for it. You just need to be open to it. I think that's what's the next milestone for our business is being able to acquire those customers more quickly because they believe that this is an inevitable change that the longer they wait, the harder they'll fall.
Yeah. So how do you currently measure success at perhaps source company? How do you measure success?
My favorite way to measure success is when students get job offers during their experiences. To me, it's just proof that that's serendipitous, right? Like a student signing up for a class is not saying I want to work for this company. They don't even know often that that's part of what their experience is going to be about. But the fact that you could do it serendipitously means that at scale, like if we could really get to the numbers of million students a year going through these experiences, they'll have more choice and agency over where they want to work and what they want to work on. And that will lead to more career success. And I will tell you, the thing that motivates me to wake up every day and do this is that one of the most meaningful things in the Jewish tradition is to set up someone with their spouse and that they have kids, right? If you do that, it's like a ticket to heaven, right? So I always say the next best thing is to set them up with a pipeline of lifetime earnings, a pipeline of fulfillment, and a pipeline of opportunity to impact their community in a positive way. I do that every day. My business does that every day. That's how I measure success. If I could keep doing that every day I wake up, then I'll consider my business a success. Whether it's in dollars or anything else is TBD. But to me, that's the most important outcome that I could generate for humankind.
Okay, very very well said. So again, which metrics are you focused on improving now?
So it's the number of schools, number of sponsored companies that are sponsoring their projects with students. Obviously, keeping revenues growing and costs shrinking. I would say it's the number of employees that we retain every single month and year. Some of my employees have been with me since the very beginning of starting the business. I think that student satisfaction, educator satisfaction are important to us. The student reflections, how they reflect on what they've learned and how they've learned. Um, I think those are the types of things that really mean a lot to us that we track.
Yeah,
And
awesome.
also, I mean, there's how quickly students get promoted and how much they make when they graduate. Like to us, it's very hard to track all those numbers as like a third party, but to us, those are the most important numbers to the work that we're doing.
Okay, yeah, because it goes to cement what you've put in on the student. Okay, okay. The next question I'm going to ask you is, where do you want CapSource to be in the next 1 year?
I want to be in more engineering programs. I think every ABET, ABET accredited program
Mhm,
requires students to get a capstone experience. We
mhm,
can help them. We have network partners. We have thousands of organizations that want to work with those types of students and
mhm.
have products across all sorts of interesting things, flooring and lighting and technology solutions and cybersecurity and marketplace. I mean, there's just an unlimited amount of company. So I want to see more of those because I think for me, that's where I want to grow an area of our business. We've mostly done our work in business programs, but I think engineers now in the world of AI are going to be even more and more useful because a lot of business decisions could be made from inputs by engineers. They don't need the business help anymore. McKinsey's laying people off left and right.
Oh,
Deloitte is laying people off. Amazon is laying people off. Apple's laying people off. Why? Because they have engineers that can build solutions with AI that can solve problems that used to take dozens, hundreds, or thousands of people, depending on what used to happen. So I think that for me is like where I think a big future of higher learning is going to be growing engineering and growing the technical expertise that underlies what you are asking and using AI for.
okay, awesome. Okay, are there any specific KPIs you're tracking on this?
On this specific goal,
Yes.
yeah, I mean, it's how many engineering programs we work with. So right now it's like 4 or 5, and our goal is to get to 10 and then 20 and then 50.
Awesome. Okay, you mentioned in one of your goal earlier, you talk about being able, one of your goals to make sure that the students get hired at the end of the day, and how much and how well, how fast they're being promoted, something like that.
Hmm.
And again, earlier you also said that you looking about your um, prospective clients and your existing to increase more, to have more clients. Okay, these are part of your goals, right? So
Yes.
why is it your goal? Why is it? Why do you make it your goal?
I want to grow revenue. That will help me grow revenue and help retain our customers and grow our customer accounts. And that will help me grow the product, which
Okay.
will help me grow the business. Growing the business means I get to make more of that good impact in the world that I set out to do every day. Help people find fulfillment,
Yeah.
build an income, and make an impact.
Yeah. Awesome. Well said. The next question: if you have a magic wand, okay. But before I go to this next question, I want to get a clarity. Who are your clients? Is it your clients now? Is the company, the universities, and the students? Who are your clients, or how do you group your clients?
Yeah, I mean, those are the categories, and then all of them pay in different ways. It just depends on each relationship with the school. Sometimes students pay as a course fee, or enrollment fee, or a courseware fee, or technology fee. Sometimes companies sponsor so that the students don't have to. Sometimes companies are paying schools because the projects are so valuable and require so much resources and infrastructure. So sometimes the schools, most often, the schools are paying us as instead of having building this internally as a competency, they
Mhm.
outsource it to us. We provide the connections with the community, with the network of organizations. We help to design those experiences, and we help to get the students started and get them through the experience and track and manage their experience and highlight the outcomes. So it's really valuable for the schools. They're our core stakeholder. They've always been our number one stakeholder. Without schools wanting to do this, we don't need companies and we
Mhm.
can't reach the students. So for us, we go to the institution, we go to the leadership, we go to faculty, and then
Mhm.
from there we go to the rest of the environment.
Okay, awesome. So that brings me to my next question. If you had a magic wand to fix just one thing in CapSource that is holding you back or slowing you down, what would that one thing be?
Well, my magic, I think magic wand is financial resources and team resources, right? It's like the money and the people that you can hire with that funding to move the business forward. I've taken zero investor dollars. I've taken zero debt. It's owned by our employees. We're building this for the people who buy our products that want our products. It has to be sustainable because we have no other choice. We have no backup plan. We have no backer. There's no other money laying around. So for me, all of that money, almost all, I mean, obviously we have other departments, but we've put most of our resources into our product, into our technology.
Mhm.
And my magic wand is always how do we make this product better? How do we make technology better so that it can help people more to scale, be more efficient, be more effective at the work we're trying to influence them to do?
Okay, awesome. So, again, is there any kind, what kind of traction signal are you looking for to know that you're moving in the right direction on that? Any kind of traction signal?
Yeah, no, new customer acquisition is always helpful. That hey, the product that we're building is exciting people and keep moving things in the right direction. And then I think um it's yeah, I mean it's and then retention. I mean those are the two things that matter most. Do they come back? And are they coming in the first place and are they coming back after they're here? And like for me that, if you just focus your energy on that, the cycle will fulfill itself, right? Because you can't keep people if you don't have something to offer. I think
Yeah,
that's where that brings in the magic wand part of the
yeah,
discussion.
yeah. Okay, that's well said. So, if this process or system or investment works, what does it unlock for you caps source at the next level?
More integrations. I think that like for us, that's very expensive and it's hard to maintain, but like we want to integrate with CRMs, with project management tools. We want to offer more functionality, capability, more ability to take what we have and customize it to different disciplines so that we can help nurses and doctors and field technicians, and solar and wind. All of these things are growing fields, but like our product needs to be basically completely adaptable, whether it's people who are building semiconductor farms or people who are training the next generation of frontline hospital workers or restaurant workers. We want to be able to help all of them figure this out. I think for us that comes down to the tech being built well and adaptable and something that's scalable.
Yeah, you mentioned something about more integration. Have you started something on that line yet, or do you have a plan to go in, zero in more on that?
Yeah, I mean, we have all sorts of integrations that we want to do more of AI, project management, CRM, because there's a whole spectrum. Every stakeholder wants different tool access in the platform. So communication, collaboration, uh, inspiration,
Hmm.
curriculum development. Like there's just ways either you build it or you partner for it.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's just not possible to build, and sometimes it's not possible to partner. And I think that we need the resources for both.
So have you built any, or do you intend to partner where when you don't if you don't have it in place?
Yeah, we instead of building a survey tool, we partnered with Typeform.
Okay.
So like definitely partner where if you can't build it, you partner for it, but it has to be sustainable. Like often that comes with a hefty fee too. It's
Mhm.
got to be something that is sustainable for the business and drives more value to the end users.
Yeah, yeah. So, like I said, my question is, you know, do you have a partner in place, or do you, or because now from what I can understand is either you make it or you partner with, and again, you say you can't build everything, so sometimes you need to partner, but sometimes partnering comes with a heavy fee in your own word, right? So, what's your plan, or where are you at right now on that?
Um, yeah, I think where we're at is
Mhm.
we make decisions across this on every juncture on everything. Like can we build this tool or do we need to partner for this tool? That's it. That's the decision. It's how much is it going to cost us, and then how much is it going to cost us if we partner, and then what happens at 100, 1,000, a million use cases of that, and which one seems like the better approach now? How urgent is it? I'm not going to sit there and build an AI. I'd
Mhm.
rather pay ChatGPT, you
Mhm.
know, 50 to 100 extra dollars a month than I already do to now do one extra piece of the platform. So that for us is like kind of the next step is continuing to integrate and build features that are integrated with other tools rather than build tools from scratch.
Okay, it makes sense. Okay, again, Jordan, thank you very much for your insight. It's very insightful and it's very eye-opening and also encouraging because, from what I've seen and from what I've heard from you, your objective, your mission is real life experience from every college student, whether 4-year degree, masters, and all that. Most times, or even a high school student, most times we read textbook, but we don't read real life application of that. So I really thank you for your insight, and it's very good. And again, we are happy to have you come to our podcast to share your journey, your experiences, and we are very grateful for that. Thank you once again.
Thanks, Phoebe. Thanks
So
for
yeah.